I'm telling you, there is nothing in life that you cannot solve after you put down your phone. I have been extremely distracted as of late. Maybe it is because I'm a university student. You have your courses to do, you have your clubs to attend, you have to email this prof about this, apply for this shit, apply for exchange, apply for residence, apply for volunteering, do your fucking taxes. Our society right now is a little bit fucked. You see all these memes about not being able to focus without like a freaking Subway Surfer playing in the background. And I'm telling you, it's not a joke anymore. Because why is it that every time I try to do one task, it ends up with me doing like 10,000 other things and never finishing any of them? It's hard for me these days to even just watch a full YouTube video 10 plus minutes without clicking off. It's actually insane. So I compiled a strategy together. We're gonna fix our attention spans. Hopefully this is somewhat helpful for people because I have already been implementing these strategies for a few weeks. I'm telling you guys, this shit works. First of all, I want to preface this by saying that it is important to understand the reason for you wanting to be focused, because sometimes it kind of sounds like a no-brainer. You need to just be focused. It's bad to be distracted. Focus is important in the sense that it allows you to focus on the things that truly matter to you, allows you to put your energy towards things that give you more energy. And that is just so important. That's way more important than, you know, like studying more, climbing up this ladder, whatever. At the end of the day, even when you're always distracted by things, you feel like shit. Your mind is scattered. It is literally ruining your brain. Every time I scroll my phone, sometimes I just think about how stupid it looks from the outside perspective. From your perspective, you're like in this new world, entertained, whatever. Somebody else watching you do that shit, it's sad. It is just so sad. One of the first things that we have to understand is the reason behind why you're scrolling. And I feel like a lot of people have talked about this, but I just genuinely believe that if you can bring a sense of awareness to your situation, understand why you're doing this, right? Why you have this sort of addictive behavior, it could help a lot with the solution. And I realized through observing myself, a lot of times that I start scrolling is genuinely because I want to avoid an icky feeling. You can have a lot of different forms of distractions. I even think that relationships could be a form of distraction. Sometimes you feel shit about yourself. You start thinking like, oh, if I had a boyfriend, maybe I'll feel better. Sometimes I have anxiety where I have like this icky feeling. I just start eating a bag of chips, man. It's not because I wanted to eat that bag of chips. It's just because I believe that eating that shit's gonna make myself feel somewhat better. Genuinely, a lot of the reason behind why you're so distracted is because you are scared of feeling your emotions. And I'm telling you right now, that shit doesn't go away when you avoid it. It doesn't. So next time when you're scrolling and you feel like, oh shit, like I'm scrolling way too much, I'm definitely avoiding a feeling, you need to put your phone down. And even if it's only 5 seconds, like sometimes I only tell myself just 5 seconds, sit in silence with yourself and notice the emotions that are coming up for you. Your feelings are always trying to tell you something. As well, like the longer you ignore them, the more you just suppress them and the worse it becomes. So you genuinely have to try to feel your feelings. As well, when you're doing these sorts of activities, you're basically detaching from reality because you think reality is too hard for you. I don't want to have the stance where I'm always trying to cope with something, where I'm always just scrolling, I'm always running away. I have to develop a fighting mentality. I have to develop a fighter stance because you have to realize that this is literally your life. You cannot spend the majority of your years distracted. You cannot spend the majority of your years doing whatever you can to cope with surviving. I'm telling you, there is nothing in life that you cannot solve after you put down your phone. Once you stop distracting yourself and look your problems in the face and actually start to work on them and start to actively engage with your reality, you're going to feel so much better. I have actually written down all of the mentalities I've developed these past weeks to help me stay focused. The first mentality is remember that you have a life to attend to. Genuinely, sometimes I think we are just like so detached from our lives. We're like so caught up in things that are like virtual, like things that don't even matter to us. Why the fuck do I even care about that billionaire's kid again? Do they even know who I am? Does their life even have anything to do with mine? Like genuinely, you be caught up with so many other people's lives, you're not even living your own. And that's just honestly embarrassing. This person that you follow here, like they don't even know who the fuck you are. They don't know your fucking name. Go talk to your mother. Anyways, second mentality, no more bullshit. No, because you don't have time for bullshit anymore. You only spend literally 80 years on this earth if you're lucky, but that is such a short amount of time, and you just do not have time for bullshit. The act even of labeling what you consume as bullshit really helps you stay away from that. It's so important to realize that these things genuinely bring no value to your life. I'm talking about like short form videos, scrolling through your feed. Like feeds are just, they're made so that you get addicted, and a lot of times it's just saturated with bullshit. And you could say like, oh, but what if I get so inspired by one video that changes my life? Yeah, you'll probably have to scroll for 10,000 hours to find that video, and in that time you could have done something much more valuable. In 10,000 hours you could have become a master at something. Also, constantly distracting yourself, it prevents you from giving your 100% to life. What is even the point of life if you just half-ass everything? You're just giving like 10% effort to everything and you're not even grounded. You're just floating around, scrolling, whatever. You don't really matter anymore, because all you are is just a consumer. All you are is just somebody who's basically doing nothing with most of their life. You have to dedicate your 100% to your tasks. And let me tell you, it feels so good after you do that. As well, like putting your 100% towards these things actually gives you more energy than it takes away, because I feel way more drained even when I'm doing nothing and just like scrolling on social media than I do after I accomplish my homework. Being able to focus on something and being able to do your best on something, that gives you so much more energy, and it gives you so much more motivation to actually do more stuff in the future. Now I'm gonna move on to some more practical tips. So the number one thing is to have a domino habit. I just started calling it a domino habit. I think there is a correct term for this. I just kind of forgot the name, but it's like a habit that will get you into other habits. Mine is going to the gym or working out in the mornings, and just the act of doing that sort of like domino habit will make you feel more motivated for the rest of your day to stay focused and to stay on task. I highly recommend doing forms of exercise in the morning. If I'm exercising well, automatically almost I want to eat better, and then I also sleep better. And when you sleep well, you feel more energized and more focused during the day. So a lot of times it might feel like so many different things you have to change in your life to stay focused. Oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to do that. No, you literally only have to focus on one thing. You get that thing right, everything else falls into place. Second, create the environment for focus for the task that you want. And I know a lot of people are like, yes, create the environment, whatever, clean your desk, don't have anything on your desk. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like getting the stuff ready and not having any other expectation, because sometimes I will get the stuff ready, right? But when I'm getting the stuff ready, I'm already anxious because I know like, shit, she's gonna make me do work. No, detach yourself from any expectation first. Literally these days, how I get myself to do my digital art is that I just put my iPad here, everything's charged, I pull up Pinterest, then I don't have any expectation for myself. I could let myself do whatever the fuck I want. Like, okay, go on YouTube, go watch this, go whatever, but your iPad is right here and Pinterest is right here. And eventually I always find myself gravitating towards those items just because of convenience. Sometimes when you create an environment with an expectation that you're going to do work, you're less likely to create that environment in the first place. But once you just create the environment without an expectation, you just start to gravitate towards doing that work. Another thing is if you catch yourself having like constant racing thoughts or constantly feeling like an urge, almost like an addiction, like you have to get a pacifier, you have to calm yourself down, you need this crutch to survive, take a step back, even if it's just 5 seconds. Just tell yourself it's 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, go back to wasting your life. No one cares. But take 5 seconds and just take a deep breath, or take like a huge gulp of water. Those two actions are honestly enough to just ground yourself. And this is what I have been practicing as well, finding moments of ma. So basically I watched this video on YouTube about the moments of ma in Studio Ghibli films, and that really inspired me, because those are genuinely moments of life where it's peaceful and nothing happens, yet they are so valuable and they just appear so important as well, and they complement all the high energy action in your life. Sometimes we sacrifice our moments of ma to do scrolling or whatever because we think that they're not important, you know? Sometimes we're just like waiting in line, or we're waiting for something to boil, so we start going on our phones without realizing that's a moment of ma in our lives. And you have to sink into the moment and truly just let yourself do nothing. And that's what I have been implementing, and I realized that it has been improving my quality of life. And there's so much magic just to be found by that act alone of being present. You don't need for something to happen. You don't need for constant entertainment. You can just sit with yourself and you could just enjoy moments of silence. And there's just something that's so much more meaningful about that. and that genuinely just improves your quality of life, and it also improves your focus because you don't feel the urge to be constantly distracted and you're more okay with just being without distractions. Another thing that has helped me a lot is to find an activity or an environment where you're forced to be focused. So for me, that's like my boxing class. It's 2 hours long. You can't really go on your phone in that class. You don't have an out, like you don't have a choice. I can't be boxing and suddenly I'm like, wait, let me go and like scroll on TikTok. There's no room for that. Those 2 hours 3 times a week helps improve your focus because you're basically practicing being focused on one thing for 2 hours at a time. So I highly recommend you find an activity where there's literally no chance of you being distracted. That's basically all the tips that I've compiled so far. I'll make a second video if I come up with more ideas, more tips and strategies to stay focused in our world, because genuinely you owe it to yourself to live your life fully. I genuinely hope that these tips helped anybody to stay focused on their life and to not be distracted and to not numb themselves, because that's just such a sad way to live. And I know it can be really, really hard sometimes, but one small step at a time will make a big difference. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna end it here.